Assalamu alaikum. Let's cook. It's not the same when black youths, black teenagers, black adults are being bullied by white people in white environments as the other way around, black people bullying white people. Totally different, not the same. And I'm addressing this in response to some white supremacists, but my main reason is to make sure that their narrative doesn't penetrate the brains of some of my confused black people. And I get it. I understand why many of us are confused. That's how they want it, okay? But you can't get this one off. It's not the same. So their point is white youths get bullied by black kids just like black kids get bullied by white kids. Not true at all. Not true. Now, do white kids get bullied? Yes, of course. They do. They get bullied by their own people. They may get bullied by black people, but the totality of the experience is not the same. The outcome is not the same. That's a bunch of BS. It's never the same. Black people being bullied by white people in white school districts, white schools, at the job, the sports field, is not the same as white people being bullied. Now let's start off with the comparison. Let's take a white youth, okay? Let's take a white youth or a young white person who lives in a predominantly black neighborhood, goes to a predominantly black school district. This may be that white family that just stuck around and never left for whatever reason. You know what I'm talking about. The black kids, of course, or the black people in the neighborhood, we all had this before we seen this. Once you know that this white person is going to be there and they're around, just say as a boy, everybody just starts calling him White Mike or White Face or Snow or whatever. He's going to have a nickname. It's going to have something to do with being white, yes. This, the young white person, of course, they're going to temporarily deal with some cracking jokes, a little bit of ridicule, but it'll be the same as if a black person showed up who was super duper dark or maybe didn't have nice clothes, you know. It's the same dynamic as if this one white person in the neighborhood or the one white person in school or the few is going to be the same. Once this white person or this white youth establishes themselves like, I'm gonna be here, I'm White Mike, I'm Snow, I'm White Face or whatever, they start playing sports, their teammates with black youths, they get into a fight or two, all that cracking jokes and stuff is over for the remainder of their scholastic career, high school, junior high, whatever, in the neighborhood. All that stuff is over with. Okay, all that's over with. We know that. Nothing else to worry about. And also, I gotta add this, due to us, a lot of us, our people, being under this Caucasus Euro spell, black people have the tendency to kiss white people's butt who appear to be cool anyway. We see this with rappers and listen, black people typically kiss white people's behind or give them more credit than they're supposed to get if they are white and they're coming around and they live around or they are around and they appear to be cool. We just know that. That does have something to do with our inferiority complex, but it is what it is. This white youth is not going to go their whole life getting bullied. There are going to be no coaches bullying them in school, the lunch aides in a predominantly black school, the janitors, the teachers are not going to bully them. Nobody's going to allow kids to just beat on them and do all kinds of horrible things to them every day. And there will even be white teachers in the school that look like this white kid anyway. And we know that white teachers, they do come to the hood to teach and things like that. Okay? So it's not the same. Black people do not treat other people bad. You know what I'm saying? Once it gets past the first hurdle, and pretty much it's the same hurdle that all black people deal with due to art. You know what I mean? Black people would beat them, you know what I'm saying? Each other. Make you feel bad, sit around and crack jokes all day about, all kinds of stuff, just trying to make each other feel. It'll be the same type of ridicule that a white person will go through until they establish themselves. This white student will go on, they'll have black friends, black teammates who will actually help them if anything happens. They won't have to worry about getting lynched in school. They won't be found rolled up in wrestling mats or anything like that. This white student won't go on a school trip with black teachers and black classmates and come back with rope burns around their neck. None of that. Now, on the other hand, let's talk about a black youth in a predominantly white neighborhood school district, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just a black youth coming up in an area where they're the super minority, like there's only a couple of them. This black student or this black youth is going to be ridiculed, bullied, harassed. They're going to have to deal with all kinds of snarky, passive aggressive white students and teammates and faculty. That's the thing. See, the thing about white people is the adults get in the bullying and they are more intense than the children often. You know what I'm saying? Because they promote it when these white kids go ahead and do their racial thing, their racist jokes. The adults promote it. From the time a black child or a black youth is in a white school district, predominantly white school district, kindergarten through 12, they will be getting harassed, straight like that. Remember, I did a couple stories on the black child, Isabella Izzy Tenchner, out in Utah. Remember that? Okay? Remember what happened to her? She was being bullied to the point where she couldn't take it no more. White terrorism in school, she took herself out. The same school district that she was in, right? The same school district. The U.S. Department of Justice conducted a years-long civil rights investigation of that school district, which is called the Davis School District. That's where Izzy went to school. I didn't see one black teacher at her school, by the way, not one. But we're talking about the entire school district, which is predominantly white, where she lived, the Davis School District. The Department of Justice concluded that the district had engaged in serious and widespread racial harassment and had systemically failed to respond appropriately to complaints from black and Asian students. The investigators for the DOJ that investigated this school district found that black and Asian students were subjected to racial slurs, including repeated use of the N-word. Of course, that's the black kids. Some students were called racist names, such as monkey and other derogatory terms. Okay? Black kids, of course. District officials often failed to investigate complaints adequately. Staff sometimes minimized incidents, told students they were being too sensitive, or excused this behavior. Okay? That's what the big racists do. When the little LL Bean racists do horrible things, the big racists or the adults, they promote it. Because if you ignore something and you don't do something, that means that you're all for it. That's all they have to do. And you know they come with, oh, you just being too sensitive. Because these people were doing these same things when they were younger. The Department of Justice found hundreds of documented incidents across multiple schools and concluded that the district's ineffective responses left students vulnerable to continued harassment and created the perception that the district tolerated the behavior. And this harassment went on from grades K through 12. Now, people, that's just the result of an investigation of one predominantly white school district. Okay? And this school district right here is just a microcosm of every single predominantly white public and private school in America. And it may be even worse for black students at these so-called prestigious private schools because they can do what they want there. Their parents leave them out there for these white folks to roast their black children like a marshmallow. These black parents, a lot of them, they leave their kids right out there. You know what I mean? This is all facts. These are things that can be looked up. Okay? This is the story. This is just white peopling and the experience of black people in America. The bullying is not the same. You have an entire Pell Voltron community going against you when you are black in a predominantly white area. A white person would never go through that around black people because we don't have it in us to treat people like that anyway. Is no comparison. Now, some people may be thinking, well, why do some black parents leave their black children in these situations, in these school districts and stuff like that with these white people? Well, I don't know either, but sometimes it could be a life situation. You know what I'm saying? The worst thing that a black parent can do, I think if they're stuck in these situations, is to assume that everything is okay with their black child. Like their black child is around white people every day. It's impossible for everything to be okay. Impossible. 99.999% accurate. No, 100%. It's impossible. Even if they look normal to you. But then you got to understand too, with our people, we have these grandparents and these great grandparents, and these parents vicariously through the kids. You know what I'm saying? They live through them quite often. Now, this could be a positive thing. You know what I'm saying? It could be a positive thing. Like you may have a black parent that says, my mom and dad put me in schools with all white people. It was torture. It made me feel terrible. I'm going to make sure my child doesn't go through this and go to these schools, and they're going to learn about this and that, things that I didn't learn. You know what I'm saying? It could be it could be through sports. I didn't play sports. They may say, you know, I was very out of shape when I was a kid. I'm going to make sure that my child plays every sport in the best, this, and that. And that could go either way, too, when it comes to sports. I've seen it, you know, go different ways. But it could be a positive in some ways. But then I've seen it work, and you have probably seen it work to our detriment as well. Okay? One way that I've seen a lot of our people live vicariously through their children, this is going to sound funny, but it's real, is through snacks and junk food. Straight like that. Word up. I've seen a lot of black people live through their children vicariously through snacks and junk food. You have these black parents who might have grew up poor, watching the commercials, wanting the Capri Suns and the Gushers and all the snacks and all this nasty, all this crazy stuff they're seeing in the ads or on the TVs and the commercials, wanting McDonald's, you know, going past 7-Eleven. No, we can't go there. We don't got the money. You know what I'm saying? Wanting all that, wanting every box of cereal, every hot dog, never could have it. And when they become an adult, they make sure the one thing that they're going to do for their black child, I'm going to make sure my baby get all them snacks, everything I couldn't have, all the coffee cakes, I mean anything, everything that I couldn't have as a child. I'm going to make sure my black child gets this. And this child may not even want these snacks, may not even care, but the parent pushes it on them, and they often end up, you know, fat and obese, health issues, because their parents live vicariously through them. Snack addiction, straight like that, straight snacks. Then you have these black people, these black parents who are watching these white sitcoms all their life, you know, white people, just attracted to everything that white people are doing. Everything they do looks lovely. You know what I'm saying? They even want to look white. So when they have a black child, they make sure that their black child goes to the same white environments they always dreamed of as a child, a teenager. This is what they're seeing. They're watching that. Imagine you watching that on TV, then you look out the window and you see the ghetto. You're like, man, I'm going to make sure my black child has that. They're really in Never Never Land, stuck in Caucasus Euro hypnosis to the point where it makes no sense. Then they give their black child everything they always wanted when they were a kid. Child ends up in one of these white schools, being tortured by the students, the faculty, the coaches, and this black parent never questions what's going on, because all they're thinking in their hypnosis is everything is all right because everything is all white. And sometimes these are the kinds of stories these kids you see not coming home from the school trip, and some body of water swelled up like a well, pushed off a boat in a tree. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times their parents set them up in these situations. You know what I mean? A lot of times. I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of times. But listen, man, I went off a little bit. This whole thing is like this, man. How dare anybody compare white harassment and bullying and say it's the same when black people do it? Absolutely false anyway, easy.